In this video, we're going to look at some exam-style problems involving double angles, specifically questions where there's a part A, which is a proof, and then a later part of the question that involves using that proof, or the result you just proved, to solve an equation. Let's have a look. Okay, in this first question here, the part A is prove that 1 minus tan squared theta over 1 plus tan squared theta is cos 2 theta. And then there's a hence or otherwise prove a certain result involving tan squared of pi over 8. So let's start with this proof. So I've got my left-hand side, which is 1 minus tan squared theta over 1 plus tan squared theta. Now this is a tricky one because it's not immediately clear what direction to go in. But since all my versions of cos 2 theta, remember there are 3, all of them involve sines and coses, not tans. So I think I'm going to begin by expressing my tan squared thetas in sines and coses. So what have we got here? I've got 1 minus sine squared theta over cos squared theta divided by 1 plus sine squared theta over cos squared theta. Now, fractions over fractions are never usually a good idea, so I can get that out of the way by multiplying through by cos squared theta. So if I multiply the numerator by cos squared theta, I get cos squared theta minus sine squared theta. And on the denominator, I get cos squared theta plus sine squared theta. Maybe you spotted this, where this is going now. So that numerator just is cos 2 theta. That just is one of the forms of cos 2 theta. And what's the denominator? It's 1. So we're done. It's cos 2 theta, and that's the right-hand side. So there's part A done. What about this part B? Hence or otherwise, you got to get used to basically ignoring the otherwise. I mean, look, worst comes to the worst, and or best comes to the best, and you see some other great way of doing it, go for it, but you really want to use your hence when you can. So it means using this, can we work this out? Well, tan squared pi over 8, so I can see some tan squareds here. So I'm hoping that somehow this is going to be related to that. So since I've got tan squared thetas here and tan squared pi over 8 here, why don't I begin by saying let theta equal pi over 8. Well, what's the right-hand side here? Well, the right-hand side is cos 2 theta. So that's cos of 2 times pi over 8, which is pi over 4. Ah, well, I know what that is. Cos of pi over 4. Pi over 4, remember, is 45 degrees, and cos of that is root 2 over 2. So now that we know what the right-hand side is, and we've proved the right-hand side is the left-hand side, I can now say that 1 minus tan squared pi over 8 divided by 1 plus tan squared pi over 8 is root 2 over 2. So this is now just an equation for me to solve. So if I multiply through by 1 plus tan squared pi over 8, I get 1 minus tan squared pi over 8 equals, and then 1 plus tan squared pi over 8 times this stuff is root 2 over 2 plus root 2 over 2 tan squared pi over 8. Let's keep going over here. I'm just going to try to get all of my tan squared stuff on one side. So I'll add tan squared pi over 8 to both sides and subtract root 2 over 2 from both. So I get 1 minus root 2 over 2 is the same as root 2 over 2 tan squared pi over 8 plus tan squared pi over 8. Factorising out tan squared pi over 8 from this side, I'm left with root 2 over 2 plus 1. And that's the same as 1 minus root 2 over 2. So, dividing through by this term here, I've got tan squared pi over 8 equals 1 minus root 2 over 2 divided by root 2 over 2 plus 1. Okay, now if I multiply top and bottom by 2, I get 2 minus root 2 over root 2 plus 2. And all we need to do now is rationalise the denominator, which involves multiplying top and bottom by the conjugate. So that's root 2 minus 2 and root 2 minus 2. And when you multiply this out, lo and behold, you do get 3 minus 2 root 2. So quite a tricky part B of that question there. Let's have a look at another. Okay, so it says prove that 1 over sine 2 theta minus cos 2 theta over sine 2 theta equals tan theta. Okay, now this stuff here you don't need to worry about. That just says theta is not 90n. It's not a multiple of 90. And what that ensures is that sine of 2 theta is never 0. It just means you don't need to worry about dividing by 0, basically. Okay, let's work on this part A. So our left-hand side is 1 over sine 2 theta minus cos 2 theta over sine 2 theta. Well, there's a common denominator there, so I might as well stick these together. And while I'm at it, I should probably just express these as their double angles. So sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta. And on the top, I've got 1 minus cos 2 theta. Now let's think about this. I've got options for cos 2 theta. So I'm going to look ahead. Where am I heading to? I'm trying to get to tan theta, which is sine theta over cos theta. So I'm hoping that stuff cancels out and I'm left with, well, just a sine theta over cos theta. So I'm happy with this cos theta here, but I would like something to cancel with that sine theta there. So why don't I go with the form which has lots of sine thetas in it? 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. I like this also because the 1 minus 1 cancels and I've just got a single term, not things added together. So that gives me 1 minus 1 is 0, and then minus that is 2 sine squared theta over 2 sine theta cos theta. Well, that I can see now that I can cancel a sine theta from the top and bottom and the 2, and I'm just left with sine theta over cos theta. And indeed, that's tan theta, which is the right hand side. Okay, so there's our part A. Now the B has two parts. Show that tan 15 is 2 minus root 3. Okay, I think we're going to need a little bit more room for this. Okay, so we can now use this result to help us. So tan 15, well, I can see tan theta here. So why don't we let theta equal 15? So that means that tan of 15 is equal to, and all I need to do is go through this side, replacing theta with 15. So that's 1 over sine of 30, it's 2 times 15, minus cos of 30 over sine of 30. Okay, so what is this? Well, sine 30 is a half, so that's 1 divided by a half. And here we've got cos 30, which is root 3 over 2, divided by sine 30, which is a half. Well, 1 divided by a half is 2, and root 3 over 2 divided by a half is root 3. So there we have it. Okay, so there's the part 1 from part B. What about part 2? Can we solve cosec 4x minus cot 4x equals 1? So what has that got to do with this? Well, notice that 1 over sine 2 theta is cosec 2 theta. And cos 2 theta over sine 2 theta is cot 2 theta. So we do have the right trig functions, we've just not got the right angles. But we can make that work for us by just saying let 4x equal 2 theta. You're literally just renaming 4x as 2 theta. And we can do that, right? Because if x was, 10, well, 4x is 40. Let's call that 2 theta. Theta can be 20, right? You can always just match them up like that. So now what we've actually got on the left-hand side here is 1 over sine 2 theta minus cos 2 theta over sine 2 theta. We just have exactly what we wanted, and we're now trying to solve when is that equal to 1. But we've just proved that this left-hand side is the same as tan theta. So I'm literally just proving that, or not proving, I'm trying to solve when is tan theta equal to 1. Bearing in mind that for us 4x is 2 theta, which means that 2x is theta. Well, this is easy, right? When is tan theta equal to 1? Well, it's when theta equals 45. The next one is 180 more than that, so 225. But that was theta, and for us that's the same as 2x. We just renamed 2x as theta, so we just want 2x to be equal to 45 or 225. Well, that means that x is just half of these, so 22.5 or 112.5. Okay, I'm just spotting now, though, that it was quite a big range, and I've kind of stopped fairly early. So could I have gone further? Well, sure I could, because if I add another 180 onto this, I get 405. And if 2x was 405, well, x would be 202.5, which is still in my range. Could I go further? Well, if I add another 180 to this, I get 585. Well, if 2x was 585, and I divide that by 2, I get 292.5, which is also still in this range. Could I go further? Turns out you can't. I mean, try, but if you added another 180 to here and then divided by 2, it would be outside the range. So we've got 4 answers here, so very easy to miss those. So I'd say these are some of the more challenging questions where you need to prove something, which can be difficult, and then see how you can use that proof to solve an equation. Key thing though, if you're ever in an exam and you can't do this part A, you should still do part B, okay? Because a lot of people, if they get stuck on this, think, oh, I can't do this question. But remember, we can use this in part B. It's perfectly possible to not do the first one and still get full marks on the part B of the question. Okay, hope that's been useful. I'll see you in the next video.